and try and help you forget, perhaps for a while, your drab, wretched lives. Here's a song all about springtime in general, and in particular about one of the many delightful pastimes that the coming of spring affords us all. Spring is here, a spring is here. Life is skittles and life is beer. I think the loveliest time of the year is the spring. I do, don't you? Of course you do. But there's one thing that makes spring complete for me, and makes every Sunday a treat for me. All the world seems in tune on a spring afternoon when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. Every Sunday you'll see my sweetheart and me as we poison the pigeons in the park. When they see us coming, the birdies all try and hide, but they still go for peanuts when coated with cyanide. The sun's shining bright, everything seems all right when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. La la, la 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 la, We've gained notoriety and caused much anxiety in the Audubon Society with our games. They call it impiety and lack of propriety and quite a variety of unpleasant names. But it's not against any religion to want to dispose of a pigeon. So if Sunday you're free, why don't you come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park. And maybe we'll do in a squirrel or two while we're poisoning pigeons in the park. We'll murder them all amid laughter and merriment, except for the few we take home to experiment. My pulse will be quickening with each drop of strychnine we feed to a pigeon. It just takes a smidgen to poison a pigeon in the park. I'd like to take you now on wings of song, as it were, and try and help you forget, perhaps for a while, your drab, wretched lives. Here's a song all about springtime in general, and in particular about one of the many delightful pastimes that the coming of spring affords us all. Spring is here, a spring is here. Life is skittles and life is beer. I think the loveliest time of the year is the spring. I do, don't you? Of course you do. But there's one thing that makes spring complete for me, and makes every Sunday a treat for me. All the world seems in tune on a spring afternoon when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. Every Sunday you'll see my sweetheart and me as we poison the pigeons in the park. When they see us coming, the birdies all try and hide, but they still go for peanuts when coated with cyanide. The sun's shining bright, everything seems all right when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. La la, la 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 la,
Well, hello, ladies, gentlemen, both and neither. 'Tis I, Mr. Vast Listen, and today we are going to be editing chapters 18 through I don't know what, probably 25, 22, somewhere in there. Yes, yes, trenches, it is me. And yeah, we're gonna read and edit, maybe have some conversation. And yeah, I'm saying and too much, so I think we're going to get into this. First thing I'm going to do today is different from last time, is I'm going to do the spelling and grammar check first. Because It really needs to get done just to make it easier to read. So, all right, that was a really quick spelling and grammar check. Then again, at only 806 words, it's not surprising. So, Chapter 18, The Not-Immortal Blacksmith Interlude, The Kid. Excerpts from the Journal of Liam the Kid. My name is William, Liam for short, William Johann Roosevelt for long. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, USA. I died from complications of. I overdosed on an 8-ball in 1987 at a Christmas work party. There. Are you happy? Maxwell is a dick, making me write this effing journal. I'm pretty sure the dude hates me. I was reborn into this magical world thanks to the goddess. She wants me to be a hero. I plan to oblige her. She has delivered me to the great Maxwell the Immortal Heretic. At one time, he apparently helped a great hero save the world. Now, contractions, everybody take a shot. Try not to take too many, you might end up with alcohol poisoning. Entirely possible if you keep doing it when I tell you to. Alright, now he's supposed to help me do the same. Unfortunately, he and the goddess don't see eye to eye on things, so she had to find a way to make him help. That meant waiting for bad things to happen before introducing me to him. My newborn body is now 11 years old. I was born into a large farming family, so much different. Oh man, when did I learn to write? So much different from my original one. Plenty of love to go around. I learned all the farm chores, learned to read and speak at an early age, and even tested positive for magic. It's like that demonic D&D shit the news is always talking about back home. Anyway, short story short, growing up was fine. The goddess came and took me away to become a hero. My family was happy for me. I'm here with this 25-year-old fuck who thinks he's better than me. Oh, we need to do the search and replace. One of these days, honest, I will actually get this done before it's time to stream. Really I will. Honest. Yeah, we all know that's a lie. Alright, replace all, that's done. Close and close. Okay, fine. The asshole is better than me. I challenged him to a fight. I studied karate at the dojo in the old world. I should have been able to take him. I was on the ground. Every fucking time. If I had gone into the Marines like my dad had wanted instead of college, I would have been trained nicer than this. My body hurts. My mind hurts. Dude is just a house. Dude just made a house out of an oak tree. And he was pissed that it didn't turn out right. Cussed out some elvish god. When the god actually showed up, he cussed him out to his face. The god called down his holy lightning and burned Maxwell to ash. I figured the rest of my training was done and it was hero time for me. I'm better prepared after 6 weeks than a seal is after a year. Nope. Maxwell stood up from the pile of dust, said something along the lines of, "That hurt, asshole," and punched the god. Not even a punch to the face. No, he punched him in the nuts. Straight up nut shot. The elven god crumpled like a house of cards, mumbled something, and dissipated. Color me impressed. Wow, 6 months. Bandits. I don't like oh my god, I actually used a contraction. Will my beating heart never. Wow, I'm just very impressed with myself right there. Sorry. I don't like bandits. Max arranged for us to be ambushed on the road today. He wanted me to put my training to use, so he stayed in the wagon. I was able to kill 3 of the 7 before they started to overwhelm me. Then the bandits just burned. In seconds, they were reduced to ash. Their screams will haunt me for months. Alright, that needs to be a semicolon, comma. It has been almost a year of learning under Master Maxwell. I have mastered what he calls the basics of fighting, and said that I will need to find my own style from here on out. Now we have started on the basics of magic. Apparently, I'm supposed to have some sort of affinity to one kind or another. He's doing what we used to call the spaghetti method. You know, throwing every. That needs a comma. You know, throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. Most things are sticking. I am 13 today. It has been a wild ride with Master Maxwell. Goddess bless his name. He doesn't like to talk about his past or why he hates the goddess so much, or the rest of the gods. He has brought me to the Army's recruiting center, as he figures it is the best place for me to get contractions. Bane of my existence, everyone take your second shot of the night. Mackin, nice to see you, buddy. Yes, I am making you unbury your Twitch login, because I'm just evil. Yeah, the straight up nuts are nice this time of year, especially if you roast them on the open fire. But I suppose that really only works if your name is Chet. Alright, let's get back to reading. He has brought me to the Army's recruiting center as he figures it's the best place for me to get involved in the war effort. I have a very important looking letter for the recruiter to read by way of introduction. I asked Max why he didn't come with me. His reply was interesting and very him. Kid, I've been there, done that, and got the shirt with the T. Besides, this is your turn to shine. Go make me proud. Then he turned and left. The recruiter opened the letter and immediately freaked out. His commander came over to see what the commotion was, and he freaked out. Eventually, some captain from intelligence was called in. He didn't freak out, although his face did turn very pale. I guess I'm in the army now. And with that, shall I say, cue the song In the Army Now by Sabaton. Alright, let me bring up the next chapter, at least on my end. And then we'll see if we can actually window capture it properly. Oh my lord. It worked. Anyone who's been in the military understands this reference, military intelligence. So, this is chapter 19, first spelling and grammar. Going to ignore that one. Ignore. Change. Oh my lord. Apparently did so. Oh. Alright. Or like that. Huzzah. Wow, this thing's barely a page long, and I do apologize. Now, this. Close that up some, and now we search for our wonderful friends. So we want the replace sidebar. Yes, that. Replace all. All right. Wow, I'm learning how to use this. 19. The Not-Immortal Blacksmith. Interlude. Military Intelligence. Yay for not having espresso making. Oh, okay. Sounds about right. Thankfully, I'm also allergic to booze, so I get to avoid the contraction shots. Yeah, you're lucky, Mackin. Very. Ooh, yes, espresso shots. Yay for not having espresso making. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, guys. All right. Correspondence between various heads of the military and military intelligence. Redacted. Colonel, we have been delivered a chosen one, but this one is a bit tricky. He carries a letter of praise, recommendation, and threat from him. How should we proceed? Captain A. Captain A, thank you for the information. Yes, the letter is real. I recognize that signet. All of my rank do. It's an official letter, so I'm not going to contract. It is required after what he has done for this country. Ah, okay. All of my rank do. That should be a comma, followed by a lowercase I. All of my rank do. It is required after what he has done for this country. His word is to be taken at face value, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He will do it. We heard rumors that he was traveling around again. I wish he would just settle down in one place, preferably far, far away from us. We're talking about recognizing the signet trenches. If that makes it a little bit better for you to understand. Yes, allergic to alcohol and hate basically every type of coffee and tea. So my choice of drinks is, well, surprisingly short. Yeah. May I suggest, Mr. Mackin, that you take some nice, wonderful juice, or maybe some good old-fashioned water, or perhaps a big bag of cocaine. Wait, no, that doesn't sound healthy. Might end up in the world of Maxwell the Heretic, and that would be just kind of worrisome. Good taste of juice myself. Alright, preferably far, far away from us. Do not throw this newsboy's life away on some stupid suicide mission. Not if you value your life, or mine, or your family's. Remember, Demonia is all his fault. We still don't know what all happened there, but his name is on all their dispatches and on their money. I'm going to delete that and make that just be Colonel X. Nah, Dos Equis. I like that. Colonel Dos Equis. Thank you, sir. I will heed your warning. The boy has been placed in charge of a squad of recruits. He is training them up very well. If it weren't for the war, I would commission him right now and put him in charge of training. Our regulars can't even keep up. Captain A. Colonel Dos Equis. Some well-meaning fool let it slip that a chosen one was here, training men for combat. That in itself isn't a problem. In fact, that is a boon to recruiting. No, the idiot let slip that the chosen one in question was trained by him. We have had to close the recruiting stations and offices. We have more volunteers than we can deal with. We have full-blooded demon volunteering. That should be demons. We have full-blooded demons volunteering, not to mention mixed bloods and the beastmen. Please advise, Captain A. Captain A, assign them all to the newly promoted Master Sergeant Liam. Please find the paperwork enclosed. Tell him he has eight weeks to train his troops before he will report to the front line. As for the loose-lipped one, if you find him, quietly string him up. Colonel Dos Equis. In a pub somewhere, Maxwell sneezed. Yeah, it's short, but it is kind of funny. I honestly kind of feel sorry for those folks. Right. Oh, fiddlesticks. Yay, this is not my day. Tomorrow isn't looking great either, but we'll see what happens. All right. Chapter 20 is now what's next. See if we can find it. 19. Crying out loud, this thing does not like me. It never seems to like me. Can't apparently window capture much of anything. Here we go. 20. The Not-Immortal Blacksmith. Interlude. The Kid 2. Holy crap, this one's 1,500 words. Almost 1,600. Well, as per standard. Okay. Oh. Is that the right straight? Straight. See if we can get a definition. Synonyms: passage, channel, canal, sound. No. Alright, I guess we'll use that one. Alright. To run, old fashioned, blood, to peoples, regimen, but apparently. Oh no. Oh, those double spaces. I don't know what the hell happened. I was originally writing this in Open Office, and somehow every time it gets copied from Open Office to any other thing, it puts double spaces in occasionally at random. All right, replace all of the, wow, there are 24 of those silly marks. That's impressive. All right. Excerpts from the Journal of Liam the Kid, Part 2. Oh, hold on a sec. I gotta scratch my ear. Itches. Hate that. All right. Alrighty. Click back to the chat. I think the marching powder would make my own tendencies so much worse. Yeah, I gave up on Open Office a long time ago due to all the quirks. Got to be too annoying to deal with for my blood. Yeah, well, when you're poor and broke, you deal with it cheap. Of course, I had to psych myself up to use Microsoft Word. Ugh. Alrighty, back to the show. Chapter 20, excerpts. Okay, I'm in the army now. My god, I used a contraction. Holy shit. That's twice. I'm in the army now. I skipped the rank of recruit and went straight to private. It has been several days, and I've been given 11 recruits to train while I await my posting. Either these kids are utter crap, or the goddess gave me more power than I thought she did. It has been a week, and the poor guys are almost dead. I guess I'll have to slow training down a bit. A corporal challenged me to a match today, that I wasn't good enough to train recruits. Now, I remembered the lesson of Sir Maxwell and asked him to clarify the challenge. I don't want to become some lord or something. He said, and I quote, "A little kid like you got no right to be teaching soldiers to soldierin' to people. Fight me for the job." So I punched him in the nuts, just like I was taught. He went down. Then I pulled my short sword, a beautiful patterned steel blade that the master gifted me for my birthday, pointed the tip at his throat and said, and asked, "Do you yield?" He yielded. It's been 2 weeks, still no assignment. A platoon from the regular army is now in with my training squad. They can barely keep up with my squad. What are they teaching these people? Master would be displeased. I got a new recruit today. She is a kittenish, a catfolk from Demonia. 3 weeks in and no assignment yet. The regular army platoon has been recalled to the front. Too bad, I was starting to like them. I keep forgetting that I'm only 13 here, so I can't actually drink anything but ale yet. The platoon will be replaced tomorrow. Week 4 draws to an end. Training has been going well. My recruits are coming along nicely. I have decided to only fully train them in short swords, shield, and spear. I think the full breadth of weapons training that I had would overwhelm them. The platoon of regulars is being replaced again. I assume it will be a recurring thing. I have heard rumors of the local recruiting stations being overrun with volunteers. I wonder what that's all about. Week 5 has ended, and due to good hard work and accomplishments, I have given my men the weekend off to enjoy the town. They have been advised to go in pairs, tip well, and be nice. I also gave each of them I also gave them each some pocket coin to help them getting their fun. Tomorrow morning I have a meeting to discuss my future, as I am becoming dissatisfied with all the waiting. I know Master Maxwell will be displeased with me, but I am but I'm contraction, take your shot. But I'm chafing to put my skills and my men to the test. Well, fuck me sideways. I have been given bad news after bad news. I have been promoted to Master Sergeant. I have also been given 100 recruits of various species and expertise to train up and build into a single cohesive unit. Time to think about all those leadership seminars I either slept through or was high as a kite during. My men have returned, only a few cuts and bruises for the trouble. I was never called to account, so I assume it was nothing to worry about. I have informed them that shit rolls downhill and gave them each a pat on the back and their new stripes. Corporals. All of them. Okay, I was never in the army, but the majority of the males in my family were. Anyone out there who happens to be watching, if you were in the military, how freaky would that be? You and the rest of the guys from your, 20-person unit come back from a weekend of drunken debauchery. You get a pat on your back by your boss, who is now wearing Master Sergeant stripes, and told, congratulations, you're a corporal now. Me personally, I think I'd freak out and run away, but that's just me. All right. Juice. The first week of training has gone well. As I lack the skills of my master, I have been forced to create the obstacle course the old-fashioned way. Manual labor. But it contraction, take your shot. But it's complete. I divided up all the recruits into 8-person squads after a few days of learning about them. About a third of the recruits are from Demonia and therefore mixed blood of one sort or another. 12 are beastmen, the rest are humans. The 4 that were left I kept for myself, as they already have some reasonable measure of magic skill, and one of them is a pureblood demon. I'm going to get rid of that comma. There's a pureblood demon. We will be doing the obstacle course in the morning as a full unit, and then running it as squads in the afternoon. The obstacle, yeah. Okay, trenchins means he's pushing you by giving you more work. They're punishing you, yeah. More work is definitely a punishment. Mackin, never served, but from what I've heard, most would be scared shitless at what they're getting into. Yeah. Alrighty. The obstacle course has been a huge success. All those ninja movies from the 70s didn't steer me wrong. The regular troops and even some elite troops have been using it as well. We still hold the record for best time. I will say that keeping discipline within the ranks hasn't been fun. The racial insults are still flying fast and furious. I may have to use a cudgel on a few of the men if they keep it up. Week 3 of boot has come to a close. I had to hang recruit Osterman yesterday. He showed some promise, but he was too fond of trinkets that weren't his, and other people's private parts. Won't be missed. We are at the contraction. Take your shot. I think by the end of this chapter, we're going to stop taking shots because alcohol poisoning is a bad thing. I had it once. I was like 22 or 23. I had a 3-day hangover, and the night that I drank that much, I spent 4 hours with the dry heaves on the floor of a truck stop restroom. A well-visited truck stop restroom. It was bad. It was really bad. I will never go there again. Learn from my mistakes, children. All right. We're at the halfway point of training. I have had to slow down a lot with the number of people involved. Supply crew and others have been showing up all along. I have been forcing them to participate or leave. The military ones protested until I called the base commander over and presented my point of, if they're near the battlefield, they may end up on it. If we're attacked they may end up on it if we're attacked and camped. Here's another bloody contraction. My lord, I'm bad at these. If we're attacked in camp. Command agreed. Well, actually, he shook his head and said something like, it's your unit. If they don't like it, they can petition to leave. Contraction. I'm not exactly popular with the support staff, but the others like me well enough. Alright, this is the last one I'm calling out. Contraction, take your shot, call it done for the night already. Wow, it's only been half an hour. How many is that? 6, 7? That's a lot of shots in half an hour. It's halfway through week 5 of training. I am now in need of magical supplies so that we can continue on our training regiment. Support staff have now fully signed on to my training. Apparently, being able to KO an enlisted when he steals from the food tent went over pretty well. I have some feelers out looking, but it may all be already gone for the war effort. Probably could have used Osterman for this, but he really needed gone. Score 1 for the mixed bloods. We will be able to... There's another bloody contraction. We'll be able to do the aptitude assessments after all. I don't want to know where the supplies came from, and I didn't ask. I just hope no one got killed. Everyone passed their martial exam yesterday. The command staff was very surprised. I did overhear one captain remark that I should just be left in charge of training the recruits. He was quietly dressed down by a first lieutenant from intelligence. Strange things are afoot, I think. Tomorrow, magical testing begins, as does archery training. Basic testing has taken most of 3 days, Basic testing has taken most of 3 days, has been grueling and successful. 87 of our 99 recruits have some magical ability. Not strong, mind you, but some. Everyone will be attending the lectures on the basic fundamentals of magic, even the support staff. I should probably test them as well. The troops with the best magic stats will be getting specialized training in magic, while the rest will be learning the techniques I was taught on how to best inconvenience an enemy spellcaster. The Mages Guild is not happy that I am teaching magic to the uninitiated. I have been formally charged with breaking guild law. This will be so much fun. Command has had a chat with the guild, but they will not stand down. I will have to face their charges, or find a way around them. I have had an idea. That's another contraction. I've Oh, missing word. I've had an idea. I don't like how much time it will take, but it might work. All I have to do is pass their stupid test and get my teaching credentials. It's a stupid plan. I expect it to fail. Plan failed. I even took the day off to try it. Apparently, I'm not the only chosen one to have tried that route. Assholes. Next plan is to challenge them for the right to teach. I will need a second. I bet Grexirg the demon would love to do it. Grexirg had to decline for religious reasons. Fiona, the kittenish recruit who joined us late, volunteered to be my second. The challenge has been delivered. Challenge accepted. The challenge was grueling, hard, painful, nothing compared to what Master Maxwell put me through. Fiona was allowed to assist in some of the challenges as she qualified as a proper familiar. That title almost got the guild's dean of students killed, as I was only barely able to hold her back. It was nice to have my troops on hand lending me their moral and on some embarrassing occasions immoral support. As things stand, I am now honorary professor magical studies of the Guild of Magic. Suck it, assholes. I can teach my classes in peace. Dearest goddess, it has been 12 weeks since I enlisted. Our training is complete. Tomorrow we depart for the Northern Front, where we will confront the enemy head on. We will be the tip of the spear, and the rest of the army will be our haft. If you see Master Maxwell, please tell him that I will make him proud. Aww. I do like that chapter. Alright, and now it was chapter 20. I get to dig through stupid things. Why does my save file go from 20 to 25? One, four. Open! 21 to 24. Which are going to be absolutely fun, because I'm just going to do this randomly as they popped up. Have to save them as a proper document, not an open office. Then I can make it go click. It's file 23, save as. It's away. File, save as, Redux Blacksmith. My lord, one of these days I'll actually. Well, I won't. Someday I might have enough brains to actually do it. Put it all together properly. Alright, last one. File, save as, package. Right there. Save. Huzzah, it worked. Okay. Now, let's see if the stupid machine will actually show them. Open that. It's not. Why would the machine actually show what I'm trying to work on? Oh, not any of those. Come on. Click on some other things and maybe it'll refresh. Oh, there we go. It did. Good. Chapter 21 of the Not-Immortal Blacksmith. I really shouldn't say chapter because it's not actually chapter. Well, I guess it is and it isn't. I don't know. They kind of are and kind of aren't chapters. I really should be saying post, although they are titled as chapters because they were really. I don't know. At least I'm not completely brain dead. Dead. Real. Okay, we're gonna ignore that. There. Let's ignore that. All of that. For all of that. Too bad. Had to ignore all of the grape sky. Great. Alright, we're gonna just change it to that. Alrighty. 839 words to go. Yes, Ducky, this is a nerd stram. I mean, I'm the one doing it. How could it be anyone but a nerd stram? For we are all nerds here. 21, the Not-Immortal Blacksmith. Interlude. Rubble. Hank, what do we do? What do we have? Ugh. I count 112 military, twice and half again that number in-camp followers. The two teens looked through the undergrowth and down the hill at the surprisingly organized columns of troops and followers marching down the road. I don't get it. These guys are definitely new recruits. Everything is too clean. And yet they move like leveled fighters. Hell, even the followers move like they trained, Hank said. I don't know what to tell you. All I know is that the general wanted a report on this specific unit. I remember the briefing, Winslow, Hank said, still staring down at the troops. Please, for the love of whatever you call holy, please don't call me that, Winslow said. Then pick a name already. It was the first slot in the creation hub. How did you miss it? Hank shot back, but without too much venom in his voice. I was overwhelmed with everything else. It was easy. Winslow cocked his head to one side. How about Bob? I'm not renaming myself to Neil. It would hit too close to home, but sure, Bob it is, Hank replied. There was a soft ping in the air, then a pleasant female voice said, Player Bob has finished character creation. You may now spend your 147 character points. Thank God, Bob said. His eyes lost focus for a few minutes. Meanwhile, down below, the unit marched on. Meanwhile, down below, No, that definitely needs the commas. I'm sure some editor somewhere is rolling in their grave. Giant. Why do I ask myself why? I'm the one that wrote it. Okay, Bob, what do we know? My lord, learn to read. I blame my public school education, just so y'all know. Okay, Bob. Definitely my public school education. Okay, Bob, what do we know? And another contraction interrupts my reading. Okay, Bob, what do we do now? We've tracked them for 3 days. They have made absolutely none of the rookie mistakes of traveling through the farm fields. Even when going through town, lost them out. Even when going through town, lost them hours of time. They haven't even gotten drunk at the taverns, and they get up every morning at 5:30 and do exercises. Hank had venom in his voice. I don't get it either. Maybe the commander used to be a real-world Marine? But then everyone would be running around saying hoorah at everything. Army Special Forces? Definitely not squiddies or flyboys, Bob replied. Well, what learn to read. Well, what does their leader's character sheet look like? Hank asked. Give me a moment, Bob responded, sounding distant. A few moments passed, then, okay, let's get a look. He made a picture frame with his thumbs and index fingers. His name is William Liam Johann Roosevelt. Hero, level 14. All of his stats run from B to S. All of his weapon skills are level B, except short sword and spear, which are level A, almost level S. He has C's in all of the magic schools. Shit. All of his equipment is triple S rank. What the hell? I only know a couple people who could have made that gear, and they died off a couple of centuries ago. They might be relics from that smithing school, but how did he get them to hand them over? Hank said. I don't know, but we had better report this to the general, Bob said. If you would do the honors? Sure, replied Hank. He made a circular gesture with his left hand, chanted a couple of words, and a portal appeared. What about the troops? Strangely enough, they were all B rank, Bob replied before stepping through the portal. That is strange, Hank said, following Bob. Through the portal does not need to be there. General Grapestein of the Demon Horde was not an unkind demon. He wasn't a kind demon either. The Chosen Ones had returned with a huge amount of data on the new troop movements, and on the unit led by the supposed successor to the heretic. Thus far, the report was fairly mundane. It was interesting to hear about what the successor had accomplished, especially since his agent there had gone AWOL in a most magnificent faction. The image of Grexrig calling him a slut-banging kitten lover before giving him a rude hand and tail gesture was truly a work of art. Too bad, I will have to kill that trailer. And another contraction. Too bad, I'll have to kill that traitor. What, my lord? Hank asked. Nothing, keep going, Grapestein replied. Is that Grapestein? Steinstein. Anyway. That concludes our report, sir, Hank said, handing over a thick sheaf of papers to the nearby clerk. Very well, you may go and make yourselves at home. Don't make too much noise. The succubus have been complaining that you aren't interested in them. Bob and Hank bowed before departing the throne room. What do you think, Morax? Should I keep them around or send them to the front to die? Grapestein asked the clerk. I would never presume to know your mind, lord, but I would send one of them to the front to die, and have the other one held in reserve. It will be fun to watch, and may make the remaining one become one of us, Morax the clerk responded. Excellent idea. Make it so. And go get us each a baby seal from live storage. I feel like breaking my diet today. A cheat day, as it were. Very good, my lord. Alrighty, that was barely 2 full pages. Now let's see if the next one will come up. It probably won't. There goes 21. And yep, it didn't. Before. Alright. Let's bring 22 to the front. Alright, will it show up? We're taking bets. Okay, on to the comment section. Mackin, true. Mackin, oh my god, I'm sorry, dude. Poor Mackin. At least you had that. I was homeschooled and drove my mother insane with the crap I pulled to get out of it. I don't blame you, and I'm sorry you got stuck being homeschooled. Ducky. Well, Mad Ducks 42. Wait, you pronounced Johann as Johann? I pronounced Johann as Johann instead of Johann. Yes, thank you, Ducky. I appreciate that most egregious. The correction of my most egregious error there. Alright, let's see if it'll actually show things. And it will not. Come on, come on. Right here, you stupid thing. Show up. Ah, I do not understand what the problem OBS has with finding my stuff. Oh, now it showed up. Ooh, 22, 23, and 24. Huzzah, it worked finally. All right, now as we have done in the past, first thing is to search for those stupid symbol thingies to find and replace. Yes, replace all. Wow, there weren't any here. That's actually mildly frightening. Next, we do the spelling and grammar. Okay, it's gap-toothed. Also, ignore that. Holy crap. Alrighty. That's a full page. Oh, oh God. Oh. Chapter 22, The Not-Immortal Blacksmith, Interlude, A Tree's Life. It yawned and stretched, reaching its long limbs into the chilly fall air, and drank deeply from it. Now what had awoken it from its slumber? It looked down from its lofty height, down past its thick girth, and saw the reason. Ah, men of the city were back to cut it down. Again. Did their road need widening again? Whatever the reason, they were back with their axes and saws. When would they learn? It decided to manifest behind them. Excuse me? A soft voice came from behind the foreman. But why are you trying to cut down the tree? He turned around to see a small girl, perhaps 8 years of age, wearing a summer dress, looking up at him. Well, lass, we need firewood for the winter, and according to the tales, the tree has always freely given it before. Oh, I thought you were going to widen the road again, the little girl replied, a gap-toothed smile showing on her face. Don't the tales also tell of there being a huge snowfall and a prayer before cutting the tree? Well, the man shook his head. The oldest of them do, but no one remembers the words of the prayer anymore. And the tales do seem to contradict each other about the weather as well. Also, there are tales about the tree volunteering its wood for houses after great storms that destroyed homes. All of these tales do seem to have one thing in common, you know. A calamity of huge and dangerous proportions, the little girl said. That is right smart of you to point out. I didn't think of that. What do you, little girl, think I should do? The foreman asked, perhaps getting a little annoyed at the smart child in front of him. Well, in your place, as important as it is, I would place my hands on the trunk and ask for the wood, telling the tree why you need it. Perhaps explaining your reasons for believing the winter will be extremely bad this year, after the summer and fall were so nice, the girl said. Hmm, perhaps you are wise beyond your years, but perhaps the tree isn't as powerful as the tales say it is. It is just a tree after all, said the foreman. You would risk that tale coming true again? The girl shuddered. You are braver than I would have thought. The tale of the tree eating the work crew? Bah, never happened. They were scared off by wolves or monsters, the foreman replied. Now off with you, little girl, and get some warmer clothes on. The foreman turned away, missing the little girl shaking her head and vanishing in the morning light. I guess I'll have to remind them of the lessons of the past, it thought. Then it slowly stooped and swung its limbs, catching up workers and turning them into fertilizer for itself and its nearby, but as yet unawakened, children. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the poor tree that Maxwell decided to dump that bottle on. Ah, fertilizer for itself and its nearby, but as yet unawakened children. That's what. Okay. Mad Ducks asked fertilizer for itself and its nearby. Nearby what? Nearby what, Vast? Excellent. Good enough. I'm glad it was good enough. I think. This is you. You could be pulling my leg. Okay, so that was 22. We're on to 23, which it looks like will actually be the last one for the evening of the Blacksmith before we move on to shipping mishaps after our break. So first, we delete that, then we search and replace all. There were 11 of them. How dare they? And then we review spelling and grammar. Oh, you're not messing with you this time. Oh, you're not messing with me this time. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, still 2 morning. Or all right. This one actually turned out to be not too bad. 23, the Not-Immortal Blacksmith. Interlude. The Kid. 3. I should probably start putting in part 3. Oh well. When I go back and re-edit again, I'll probably get to that. Marching through the rain and sleet these last 2 weeks hasn't been fun. The mud gets everywhere. You are always cold and wet. Everything starts to chafe. In order to keep most of it off the troops during PT every morning, I've had the squad mages casting warming spells on their unsuspecting comrades and holding them for as long as they can. This has been helping the troops, and it has helped the mages increase their mana control. Having to write this from memory isn't fun, as I'm sure I'll forget things. We passed through several towns and villages. Once the civilians realized we weren't going to tromp through the fields, they treated us well. But still, some were better than others. There were no bandits on the road for us to remove. Game was fairly plentiful. The civilians were more than willing to trade since we weren't threatening to just take things. They may not have gotten what things were worth, but they made a profit. Early on, one of our wagon horses went lame, nothing incurable by stall rest, but completely useless to us. So, we traded a farmer for a pair of old oxen that we were planning to butcher once we had replaced the horses at the front. I will note the "we're planning." 3 days in, after the replacement, the oxen were outperforming the horses in endurance, no surprise to anyone from a farm, but also in speed. I have questions as I have questions that I am sure will never be answered. I'm going to leave that as "am sure" as opposed to "I'm sure." We won't be butchering the oxen. Once or twice this week I have felt like I was being watched. I am, how, I am, however, unsure by what or perhaps whom. Our current camp is about a day, in good weather, from the rear lines. It will take 2 days to reach at our current. Learn to read. It will take 2 days to reach at our current speed of travel due to the inclement conditions. The roads are also getting worse. Signs of past struggles are everywhere. One more day to the rear lines. Thank the goddess. I'm very glad Master Maxwell gave me pointers in traveling with an army. Mostly sleet today. The night is clear and windy. I expect things to freeze tonight. Ah, sneak attack. A segment of the demon army snuck past the lines to harass the countryside and came upon us an hour or two past midnight. Thankfully, the way we set our camp, with the followers inside the pickets, kept support casualties to a minimum. Still, we lost a third of 4th Squad and half of 2nd Squad. Support casualties were 6, mostly due to drinking too much to be able to dodge. I may have to ration out the booze to 2 drafts a day. It will hurt, but it will keep this from happening again. As predicted, the morning is cold. Too cold for normal at this point in the fall season. Something is afoot. We will be leaving 2nd, 4th, and 8th squads to escort the support unit, while the rest of us will make double time to reach the rear of the lines. I was right to be worried. It is disgusting what happened here. We have killed 2 score of undead and mopped up a dozen or so minor demons. Headquarters is destroyed. General Graham is missing. What remains of the headquarters unit is scattered and suffering from shock. I will not describe the carnage of the hospital tent. I wish to forget that scene. We set it ablaze, a funeral pyre for the gods to see. Master warned me that war was bad. I should have paid him more. Support has arrived. They made good time considering the weather is 10 points below freezing. We should only be having our third killing frost right now. Wind is barely starting to let up. We have taken over the remains of the headquarters building and are making repairs. In the morning, I will be sending out 1st and 10th squads to do close recon patrols. I have finally had a warm night. Early this morning, following their stomachs, several soldiers have wandered into camp. They are suffering from the chilling disease, what I call hypothermia, and severe frostbite. 1st and 10th are out on recon duty as well as search and rescue. Everyone else is scavenging for firewood and coal or charcoal. I have concerns. There we go. Put in an or as opposed to the slash. 1st and 10th have returned with half-dead soldiers in support. I am intentionally not asking if anyone deserted. Master told me stories of knights turning tail while squires held their ground with broken spears. War is terrible, and I will not judge. It has been 2 days of close-in scouting. Our numbers have spiked to almost 400. We will run out of supplies in 2 weeks if we do not get relief. We have retrieved some random supplies from old abandoned camps. The extreme cold has continued. It is our tauntauns will freeze before we reach the first marker cold. Fire magic is making things livable. Tomorrow I will send out half our company worth combat-worthy units to search out the enemy. In news of the odd, a very fluffy mountain goat has taken up residence with the animals in the corral. The troops have been sent out. A pair of lady adventurers have come into camp and have offered their help. I am grateful. More news on the goat. One of the cooks was injured trying to catch the goat for tonight's dinner. The cook is resting quietly with a broken leg and a few bruises. The goat is unharmed. News has just reached me via courier. Turns out we are the front line. We need a better means of communications. I would sell my left kidney for a pair of radios or a telephone. The scouts have returned. The enemy camp is about 3 miles northeast of us. The ground is frozen and full of sharp fields of ice. I will spend most of the remainder of today trying to come up with a plan of attack. I have sent the courier back with a status report and a request for supplies. What is wrong with that fucking goat? This morning it was found herding a pair of cows and a small flock of chickens into the corral. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I have issued orders that the goat is not to be molested. I have called a meeting of the corporals and other command staff that hasn't headed for the rear for treatment. I am surprised that the couple of nobles and lieutenants that have stayed haven't tried to take command from me. As far as they know, I'm only 13 after all. The goat is on the roof of the command center. What the hell? The meeting is over. Everyone knows their place in the battle order. No one objected to the plan, not even the adventurers who snuck in. Tomorrow we are the spear and the tip. Ooh, and that brings us to 9:03 p.m. So I am going to actually, because I'm lazy, yes, the goat. It is exactly that goat. That goat is also the reason behind the picture I use for damn near everything. That fucking goat. It was supposed to be a one-off. It wasn't supposed to last for more than a couple more chapters. But no, everyone thought the goat was great. Fuck the goat. Fuck the Fae. All right, we are going to start our break time for 10 minutes so I can have a bio break and consume lung cancer. So in 3, 2, 1, beep. ladies, gentlemen, both and neither. We are back. As you can see, I actually took the time to set stuff up for once. We can actually start this one without me monkeying around. So, what we have here is Shipping Mishaps, reading and editing, chapters 11 through 15. Thus far, you know what? I'm not going to do a recap. It's only been a week. But no, I'm going to do a recap. Preparation, heresy. Stares at open Google Doc. Yeah, Mackin, that's kind of frightening, even for me. Ask anyone that's known me long enough. Preparation is not my strong suit. All right. Let's see now. Geo has encountered pirates. She woke up from a freezy pop tube, found out everyone is dead. Accidentally destroyed a ship of the line, part of the Protectorate fleet, and is currently operating a what's the best word for it? A death ship of death that she now owns and has a shipping contract to complete. So that'll bring everyone up to date. Chapter 12. Oh, dear Lord. The Nautilus dropped out of hyperspace and public education. Blame it all on the public education. The Nautilus dropped out of hyperspace and the system of Savji came into view. The bright orange star giving off a beautiful glow to the panorama of planets and to the outer station. A station that was currently taking fire from a ragged fleet of freighters plus an outdated corvette. Geo swore. Bring shields to full strength. Comms, ask the station if they require assistance. Helm, get us in position for a good broadside of the big ship, Geo said with a sigh. Why is this? And that needs to be italicized. Why has this happened twice in a row? Mac, one of the mouse-like Jarnsnarg. Jarnsnarg, I do like that one. That one doesn't scream I was randomly typing on a keyboard. Mac, one of the mouse-like Jarsnarg, and the newest comms officer spoke up. We have a response, putting it on screen. An opulent-looking neon yellow Brunel appeared on the screen. Yes, we need assistance, you stupid... It broke off. What in the great bowels of Gitrech are you? Well, with that kind of attitude, no wonder no one likes you, Geo replied. I am the dirt Rockian known as Admiral Geo, and you will respect me as such, you blathering fool. Rockian needs to be capitalized. Well, I never. Then you should try it sometime. I have deliveries to make and a wedding to preside at, so let's make this quick. Pay me a bounty of 50,000 credits per ship, and I'll take care of them for you, Geo replied. Should be Geo interrupted. Geo interrupted, starting to get annoyed. Otherwise, another contraction. Otherwise, I'll let them pick you apart while you wait for the system patrol craft to get here. 25K, nothing more. 50K or nothing. Fine, contract sent, the Brunel replied as the desk it was sitting at shook from weapons fire. Contract received, weapons fire when ready, Geo said. Weapons Officer Nerfoik, the Brunel specialist on duty, gave a toothy grin of challenge, selecting Scattershot from the munitions menu, then pressing the fire button. Near the bow of the Nautilus, the hatches on a quarter-mile square section of hull plating withdrew. That needs a comma. withdrew, uncovering the point defense sliver cannons and the weapons fired. Most of them, anyway. Some sparked and went offline. The volley had the desired effect on the pirates. The ships on the far side of the fleet broke off contact with station, looking for the new threat. The first line of ships were immediately shredded. The ship behind them ate the shrapnel. Alright. The first line of ships were immediately shredded. Should be ships. The ships behind them ate the shrapnel from the attack, the majority becoming disabled. The corvette was venting atmosphere from a large number of holes, and although the engine had gone dark, it was still attempting to fight. Big Blue, here's an early wedding present for you. Go capture that big ship, Geo hollered into the comm at the Marine lieutenant. Moments later, the Marines were launching in an antique combat drop shuttle. Officer Nerfoik, don't hit the big ship with your next volley. As the small pirate fleet turned towards the Nautilus, Weapons Officer Nerfoik punched in the next weapon load. He wanted to try and press the fire button. The swarm munitions he had just fired oriented themselves within the targeting parameters and expelled the swarm submunitions they carried, limpet mines. Watching the scene play out on his targeting screen, Nerfoik felt disappointed. The half-meter across limpet mines waited patiently in space. They were mines, that's what they do. When the onboard mass detectors went up, the first mine, and its closest 1,999 brothers in arms, swarmed the ship. A good-sized tramped freighter and attached to its hull. Then a 1,000-meter-long line of explosives detonated in a spiral pattern along the freighter's hull. Nerfoik was no longer feeling disappointed as he watched the freighter peel apart. Italics! I wonder what nano-disassembler rounds are, Nerfoik thought. Another one that needs italics. And a removal of a contraction. I wonder what nano-disassembler rounds are, Nerfoik thought. I'll load those next. Sadly for him, it didn't come to pass. The remaining members of the pirate fleet fled from the system. Okay, Goldilocks. Okay, Goldilocks. My lord, I need to stop reading and start typing first. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, Goldilocks. That's 14 confirmed kills, 6 disabled, and 8 escaped ships. Now... Now we're just waiting on Big Blue to tell me how the terms of surrender are playing out on the big ship. Geo was grinning into the hollow while talking to the station manager. So, I tell you what. We keep the big ship and salvage the 6 disabled ones, and you only have to pay us... He did a quick calculation in her head. 700,000 credits. A savings to you of 3,500,000 credits. Plus, you don't have to pay nearly so much for cleaning the lanes around your station. She took a breath. Will that work for you? That Corvette is worth millions. Why would I let you just take it? The manager fumed. Maybe because I have a platoon of Space Marines on board, securing its surrender. I figured letting Blue... You know what? We're gonna hold on. What are you doing, you stupid computer? That there, because it sounds better. Maybe because I have a platoon of Space Marines on board, securing its surrender, Geo said. No, that's got to be asked. Securing its surrender, Geo asked. I figured letting Big Blue loose on a ship like that would be a great wedding present for her. And just who is this big blue of whom you speak? The manager demanded. Geo threw a picture of Geo threw a picture of Kiki, or Big Blue to Geo, onto the hollow. Efup, my head of Marines on board ship, bride to be of the lovely. Why do I not remember to edit the names? Bride to be of the lovely or Boprik, as I call him, and very near and dear to my heart. You could almost call her a part of my family. The station manager gasped. Why is my daughter on your ship? Kiki and Boprik had been planning the wedding and weren't having a good time, at least until they hit the deck of the Corvette. Then things were wonderful. Blaster fire and grenades were the sounds of the day, as their half of the platoon headed for the bridge, and the other half headed for engineering. So, what kind of flowers should we have this time? Boprik asked. I think we should let the florist figure it out. I've never been that good at coordinating colors, Kiki responded. Duck, he did, and she shot a pilot who was dropping out of a hatch behind him. Thanks. And another contraction. Thanks, I'll make a note to contact them, Boprik replied. The door to the main bridge opened in front of them, revealing a frightened pirate. On the main screen beyond him was Geo. I'm glad you made it to the bridge. These wonderful fellows have decided to surrender. Apparently, they didn't want to take the hard way. Oh, dear Lord. Learn to type. I never took a typing class in school, and it shows. Apparently, they didn't want to take the hard way. Alright, I think I'm going to include the in that part of that. Several grueling hours of work later, the disabled freighters and their crews were in custody. Geo's new Corvette was docked to the station, and the Nautilus was in a parking orbit. Nautilus needs to be italicized because it's a vessel. When system security arrived, the captured pirates were handed over. Meanwhile, Geo and most of her crew were on Sovji Tri Station for some well-deserved R&R. I'm going to put an apostrophe S and italicize that since it's the name on Sovji's Tri Station for some well-deserved R&R. The station was large, well-lit, and filled with plants. Lots of plants. Plants everywhere. Plants seemed to be part of the architecture. It reminded Geo of an indoor botanical garden. Then she saw one of the plants move. Kiki, what in the place inhabited by the seven is that? Geo pointed at the tree that was slowly making its way down the hallway. You mean, who is that? There we go. You mean, who is that? Be a period. They are Grignid. I don't know their name. They are a peaceful and long-lived species and are excellent teachers and navigators. Do not be deceived by their slow movements, as they are omnivorous with a slight preference for meat, he replied. Okay then. I'll try to remember that, Geo said earnestly. Do they have reproductive organs I can kick? She asked. You really need to get over your reliance on that trick. It is unbecoming of a warrior such as yourself, Kiki replied with an eye roll. They do not, as far as I am aware, have reproductive organs that can be kicked. The Grignard had gotten closer during the conversation and announced its presence, saying, "Comma, we are a civilized species and as such do not flaunt our reproductive bits in the wind." It then started wheezing. I apologize, just a bit of Grignard humor. We most specifically do wave our genitalia around. I need to replace genitalia with reproductive organs. Let's sigh. B. Space. Okay. We most specifically do wave our reproductive organs around in the wind when we wish to mate. So if a Grignard asks you to smell its flower, you may want to be wary. He then walked away down a side corridor. I should have warned you, they also have a sense of humor. Or editing. Huzzah! They also have a sense of humor, Kiki finally said. I need to go and calm my father down, so I'll see you in the pirate's jaw in a few hours. I believe that's the plan. I also believe I'm supposed to pay for the drinks, right? Gio replied, nodding. Alright. That needs to get moved up to here, because it makes more sense to my brain. There we go. I also believe I'm supposed to pay for the drinks, right? Yes, Kiki gave a smile equivalent by scrunching her nose. Have a good look around the station. Kiki and Gio parted ways. Gio was having fun looking at all the nature and wildlife around the station. The trees and shrubs, that didn't move, were beautiful and gave the air a woody, earthy smell. The smell was just like the lakeside forest back home. The tears hit her again. Reliving the loss, the grief, and the pain, she slumped down against a wall and shook for a while. When she finally looked up again, she saw that two Goraks with greasy feathers and dirty coveralls were staring at her, both of whom were showing teeth. The one on the left said, "Shit, out of range of the ship translator. I need to change all the shits to poop, just because it's funnier." And, well, let's be honest, I wrote this for 12 to 14-year-olds, which is to say I wrote this as a young adult novella, as opposed to an adult novella, so I really need to change out a lot of the swearing, too. Sorry, had to take a drink. Alright, I'm gonna change this to poop. Oh, come on, learn to type. I've only been doing this for like 40 years. Why can't you type? Poop. I'm out of range of the ship translator, Geo thought. I better think of something. The one on the right said, then approached, a hand dipping into a pocket and retrieving a serrated blade. And all of these get turned to poop too. Okay. Here we go. Poop, 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 what do I do? Dad always said, fight a gun, run from a knife. Guess it's time to run. She slowly got up, hands out in a placating gesture. As soon as she was stable on her feet, she turned and bolted, right into the arms of a third. And that gets turned into poop. Poop! She screamed at the top of her lungs, putting all of her anger, sorrow, and frustration into her voice. Her assailant staggered back a step. Geo took the chance and darted around them, only to feel something hit her in the small of the back. Alright, and we need something to replace fuckers. Figure that out later. Oh, excuse me. Why is my juice giving me belches? Didn't even put a shot of gin in it. She spun around. Ouch, you fuckers, that hurt. Only to see three Gorax staring at her in very clear astonishment. One was holding a weapon she recognized as a standard issue security stunner. She giggled. Seriously? You tried to stun me and it didn't work? Kiki is going to love this. She dropped her hand to her hip, about to strike a pose, and felt the weapon on her hip. Okay, it should be felt the weapon holstered there. There we go. Alright, italicize. Crap, I completely forgot I was armed. No wonder they tried to stun me. She dropped her right hand to her waist, now fingering the grips of both guns. Do you feel lucky, punks? Well, do you? Definitely need a comma there after the well. The Gorax separated, putting about 7 feet between each of them, then slowly started to close the distance. With equal parts slowness and care, Geo drew the weapons from each hip. The one in her left hand, blocky and heavy, with an 8-inch barrel and a green digital readout proclaiming 99 rounds, safety off. The one on her right was sleek, slim, and black, with a small bell-shaped aperture at the end of the short barrel. On the side was a thin green bar indicating the power was full. The Groax stopped. They looked at the weapon in Geo's right hand, then at each other, then back at the weapon. The hell? Okay. What the hell are they waiting for? Why don't they charge in while they have the advantage? Geo asked herself. She continued to watch as some conclusion was made. The three slowly backed off, appendages in the air, then turned and fled down the corridor. Shaking with relief, Geo holstered her weapons, and as the adrenaline wore off, she headed back towards where the crew would be waiting for her. Now, if you remember a number of chapters earlier, one of the people that looked at her mentioned that the weapons she was carrying were war crimes. Just figured I'd point that out for anyone watching that didn't catch the first couple of broadcasts. Alright, Chapter 13. After spending much too long walking around the station she had grown up on, Kiki walked to the business offices of why am I not maybe I should do these at like noon on Sunday or something when I'm actually no, I'm not even awake half the time at noon. Like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sundays when I'm actually awake. Alright, let's try this whole one again. After spending much too long walking around the station she had grown up on, Kiki walked to the business offices of Sovji Tri Station. She knew her father would be furious about her forced retirement from the CLSB fleet and about the wedding, although she wasn't sure which would anger him more. All right. Go. This needs italicized. Alright. Wasn't sure which one would anger him more. At least I can tell him that he won't have to pay for the ceremony or the feast afterwards. Maybe contractions. Maybe he'll even like Geo once he gets to know her, she thought. When Goggins fly. She stepped into the outer office, waved hello to her father's secretary and third wife, and walked back to his office. The office was posh, everything shiny and new compared to when she had visited after the divorce. The carpet, which was a rich dark red, the walls a happy yellow, the display cases holding his awards and fine art pieces made from sparkling multicolored crystals. Her father, Dathan, an older Brunel, with fine neon yellow fur that represented his station in life, was sitting behind a brightly polished metal desk. He looked up from what he was working on and growled at her. Getting married again? To the same idiot? Obviously the wedding is... Okay. Italicize. Obviously the wedding is pissing him off. Once more with feeling. Obviously the wedding is pissing him off more than being fired, she thought. Yes, father, I am. Shall we come to blows over it again, or will you just accept that I am my own... that I... Alright. Shall we come to blows over it again? Or will you just accept that I am my own woman, comma, and can make my own decisions? I'm not fighting your dumb ass again. I still have the scar you gave me last time. He rolled up the left sleeve of his business suit, showing off a tattoo-enhanced scar. I was proud of you that day. So, why do it again? Why to him? He left me last time thinking it would be better for my career. Idiot. Alright. We go poop. And we go poop. And we go poop. He left me last time thinking it would be better for my career. The idiot. Now that we've both left the fleet, being married won't cause any more problems on that front, she replied. Period. Also, I still love him and he loves me. So what am I going to have to pay that pirate admiral of yours for the ceremony, feast, and space? He asked. You know she looks... Alright. Do you know she took me for 1,000,000 credits and all the salvage rights? So you like her? Oh, by the 17, you bet I do. If she was a Brunel, I would propose so we could have a joint ceremony. Kiki rolled her eyes like she had seen Geo do on so many occasions. Seriously, father? Mom would have a fit. You know that she wants to pick her next sister. I know, but I think she would approve. Geo was sitting with several of her Marines in a small bar on the station, and had just finished telling her story. I can't believe I lived. So what did I miss? Why didn't they attack? They were looking at her, mouths agape. Um, Admiral? Can I see your weapons? Rupert, a of this Yeti, asked. She couldn't pronounce his real name. Alright. I don't know where I pulled the name Rupert from, but I'm going to keep that. Sure, Geo replied, unholstering both weapons and gingerly placing them on the table to the sound of gasps from the Marines around here. Where in the 17 did you get these? Rupert asked, eyes almost bulging out of his furry head. The armory next to the primary med bay? He pointed at the one on her left. That is a bloody things are ruining my reading. Okay. He pointed to the one on the left. That, and contraction. That's a handheld railgun Type 5, or HRG-5, the unclean offspring of the sliver cannons we use for point defense. And more quote marks. It fires a 1/8 ounce armor-piercing dart of tungsten alloy downrange at roughly 3 times the speed of sound. You have it set to burst fire, Rupert said. Pointing to the one on her right, that uh, contractions are the bane of my existence. They're almost as bad as that fucking goat. Okay, we're gonna change this. He then pointed to the one on her right. That's a handheld Squark Special Sonic Canyon. That's a hand. Fun vast. Where did you learn to speak? Alright. Point of note, never trained as a public speaker. That's a handheld Squark Special Sonic Cannon. Locally, local, colloquially known as a screamer. It fires a coherent beam of sound that rips flesh from bone. I would run from either of them. Both are illegal in civilian hands, and using the screamer on any living creature is considered a war crime. Geo gulped and put the weapons away. Well, that explains why they ran. Yes, it does, Rupert said. So, aside from that, how did you like the station? Oh, this place is beautiful. I wish we had places like this back on the Nautilus. I wish we had places like this on the Nautilus, replied Geo. More contractions. I'll have to ask Campy about adding some hydroponics in one of the bays. Misty, another Yeti, looked over at Geo. You may just want to ask if the onboard gardens are still intact. Well, poop. Of course we have gardens. Why shouldn't we have gardens? Next thing I know, you're going to tell me we have small talking rodents running around at a petting zoo, Geo grumbled. Small talking rodents? Aside from the Jarsnarg, I don't think there are any of those, Misty said. It's a figure of speech, Geo shook her head. Anyway, can you guys think of anything else I should ask Campy about? Gyms, entertainment, bars, restaurants, and several other things were suggested as the Marines excitedly talked over each other. Geo finally resorted to using her tablet to take notes. After the suggestions started to repeat themselves, she said, Okay, that's enough. I'll ask Campy. Now the next round or two are on me. She walked up to the counter and handed over her card. I want to prepay a 50 credit tab for my idiot Marines and add an extra 100 as a tip for yourself. Thank you, miss. I will be sure to take care of them, the bartender replied. Geo said her goodbyes and headed back to the Nautilus. Oh, wait, I can just tap Control I. I are smart. Back aboard the ship, Geo slumped against a wall and let the emotions overtake her. Hey, go, I. Back aboard the ship, Geo slumped against a wall and let the emotions overtake her. Oh my god, I could have been killed. God only knows what they could have done to me. Need to actually learn how to use these things before something else happens. She dried her eyes and went to her cabin to change into workout clothes. Oop. Campy, please get. Campy, please give me a Dirt Rockian mile of 1.13 Dirt Rockian gravity corridor to run in. Geo said. Will do, Admiral, was Campy's reply. 3 miles and an hour later, Geo was hot, sweaty, breathing hard, and tired. She had also gained an audience. Admiral, how in the 17 do you do that every day? One of the Marines, a bipedal lizard with lizard-like one of the Marines, a bipedal lizard-like Batugi named Goju, Geo had started calling him Goey, asked. That should be Goji, just because that would be funny. I have absolutely no idea where Goji came from, but I think it works. It's easy, Goji. I just dial up the gravity and run, Geo replied with a closed-lipped smile. Or Control I. Still can't believe they think this is some form of physical torture. I have a lot of muscle tone to regain after 12,000 years of sleep. I still think it's weird. Back in basic, we only had to train in 0.99 G, so the brittle would get a workout, and then only for 1 mile at a time. Goji retorted. Are all of your people like this? And again I tell you, Geo said panting, if the military back home had artificial gravity, they would crank it up to 2G and make them run 1 mile laps for a couple of hours. Asterisk. Unbeknownst to Geo, as soon as Terra got artificial gravity, they did indeed make soldiers run laps at 2G for hours on end. Okay, 17 save us. I don't want to ever face your military, said Goji, shaking his head. Alright. Bye. Time to make their heads spin, Geo thought. Really don't need the two herself. I mean, who is she going to think to? Alright, time to make their heads spin, Geo thought. Hey, you know what? I think I'm going to start fitness training with you guys after we leave the station. Everyone chuckled at this, except for the two in the far back. They just looked at each other and smiled at the money they're going to. Smiled at the money they were going to make from the bets. Right. Another mark. Well, Recruit Geo, we will see you then, Goji said. Again, I need to change that to a J. We're done with our shift and heading off to the station for some R&R. Enjoy the rest of your physical exercise. The Marines departed. Geo spent another hour doing exercises in the hall. Alright, and here's that, the unbeknownst to Geo. I think originally that was at the end of a page, but I don't remember. A shower, a meal, and a short nap later, Geo is feeling much better. Campy, remind me to fluctuate the gravity while the Marines are training, gave the speaker an evil grin. It should be fun to watch. And I believe that the Dirt Rockian phrase I am looking for is, you are an ass, Campy replied. Occasionally, Geo gave a little laugh. It will be fun. Anyway, I have a bunch of questions for you, both on behalf of myself and the crew. Ask away. Do we have any gardens, gyms, entertainment facilities, bars, or restaurants on board? Yes, yes, yes. Do the canteen and mess halls count? There are also exchanges located near all of the canteens and mess halls. The heck is an exchange? Also known as a PX. It is a general goods store provided for the military personnel, replied Campy. Good to know. What else do we have on board? There are several VR suites for recreation. actual firing ranges, aquatic facilities, open shop areas, and a number of outdoor recreation areas. Now I'm going to replace all the apostrophes with the appropriate quote marks. Ooh. Beat quote. Beat quote. All right. Holy hell, why didn't you tell me any of that before? You never asked. Oh, that needs a period. Now who is being an ass? That needs an apostrophe. Now who's being an ass? A warning, Admiral. All of these places must be swept clear of inhabitants before repair bots can be used to service the areas. I have detected some signs of life in several of them, but I am unable to determine what they are due I am unable to do but I am unable to determine what they are due to negligence in the maintenance of my sensors. There we go. Well, pooh, Geo said. I guess I know what we're doing after the wedding. That's actually a chapter I need to write. Alright. Several hundred light years away, in a mined out asteroid roughly 3 miles in diameter, a call was being answered. You have 3 seconds before I hang up, the comms tech said. Octo 369 Rock Furnace, the caller replied. Koev Adkfensel. That's enough of the code bullshit. Good enough. Where is your strike leader? Either dead or captured at Sovji Station. That was an easy target. What the seven happened? You know those bulk freighters that used to be super carriers? That needs to be in that. One of those dropped in system. So what? They have crap weapons and shields. You can down one of those easy. Yeah, it should be easy. Not easily. I know. This one was still fully armed. We lasted about 10 seconds. If we weren't on the far side of the fleet from them, we would be dead. We would be dead. The Corvette, Wings of Death, lost its main drive and hyperdrill, so it turned to fight. But there's no way it could have survived that thing. Wings of Death, italicized. Okay, get your sorry asses back here so Command can review your logs. Good luck. Thanks, we're going to need it. 20 minutes later, in a large, comma, well-lit room filled with trinkets and baubles, Pirate King Disquat, Terror of the Stars, was sitting at the head of a very large table with 3 of his admirals. I have just had a report that we need verified. Apparently there is a parasite carrier out there from the Great War. There are dozens of them, said one admiral. Okay. One of the Yeti-like by the name of Fugget, the Bold. If you will let me finish, Zizquat angrily asked. Sorry, sir. The carrier in question still has all of its equipment intact. Startled looks were given from around the table. Oh boy, that would be a prize for the ages, another admiral said. Yes, it is, and I want it, Zizquit said, showing his teeth. All right, time check is exactly 10 p.m. So, whether you like it or not, I don't know. Anyway, ladies, gentlemen, both and neither, I hope you enjoyed this evening. Thank you for coming and listening. Thank you for the conversations. I do appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube. Yeah, we'll say that. And if you could tell your friends or people that you hate or people that you don't hate to come and watch, I would appreciate it, and it would help me a great deal since I uh, don't really have a job and I need to pay my rent. Anyway, love you all. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. We will talk at you live next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bye bye.